I don't want to upset you. This is some of it.
Hello and welcome to 1-2. This is our new weekly Monday show, looking back at the biggest talking points from the weekend. We've got a competition coming up at the end, and the winner is going to win a Premier League kit, so a shirt, just a shirt of his or her choice, so stick around for that. First of all, we're going to start off with a little chat about our man Jurgen Klopp. After Merseyside Red got tanked by North London White yesterday.
We're doing the Pro Evo, are we?
Yeah, we're doing the Pro Evo. This is what I hacked from the Liverpool Echo wrote. Forget about the state of the falling sterling, pound rather than Raheem amid Brexit. This game might prove the moment the Deutschmark might have finally dropped for Jurgen Klopp crashing through the floor. Now, excusing the dreadful piece of writing that is, the sentiment, the penny or the Deutschmark dropping for Jurgen Klopp is at least detectable. What do you reckon? Is he under pressure?
I think massively. I think massively the fact that the football is improving. I think the attack of football is improving, and everyone says we want to see this kind of football. You know, we want to see European sort of gegenpressing and all that kind of stuff. But it's almost like he's done it and completely forgot about the other part of the game. Yeah. I mean, the other teams in that position have really good defences. I mean, it's all very good beating Maribor 7-0. Yeah. With the greatest respect to all the Slovenian fans out there, but yeah, no, you can't put that kind of crap in the Premier League, and it showed. It showed yesterday with Spurs was a much better opposition. Yeah,
fair enough. I mean, he also he had the chance. He knew that he needed to sign a centre back, and if he went after Van Dijk and didn't get him, and then was left with Matip and Lovren, who he must have known from last season weren't really up to it when they come against top teams. Yeah, he's only really got himself to blame. Although he didn't only blame himself, he really went after his players yesterday in the press conference afterwards, which is also, I mean, this thing about the Deutschmark maybe finally having dropped. Yeah. It's the first time that I've seen him go after his own players in a press conference and not protect them from the criticism which they're obviously, which they're due.
I think that is a massive turning point. Yeah. But I think also to blame them so completely and say, this is just Lovren's fault, whatever. I think it also shows that he's not just the nice guy who's there to protect his players and sort of be the friendly, open guy that everyone thinks he is. Maybe this is a sign of intent of him saying, you know what, I'm not taking any more shit from poor performances and pretend that everything's happy Larry and I can jump around on the touchline and start being serious. And maybe it'll kick everyone else up the proverbial.
But what do you reckon? Do you think he's got long left? Do you think he actually is under pressure, or is he going to ride it out?
My one question whenever someone talks about getting sacked is there a better replacement? That has to be the number one question on the agenda at a board meeting. Because just saying it's useless, get rid of him, and then bringing in, I don't know, Big Sam, right? Or whoever's floating about on the merry-go-round, or who else is open right now? There'll be someone else, someone like Redknapp or Di Matteo. You can't just, you can't just look at it in hindsight. I think you have to be prepared. It's such a shame Roy Hodgson's already taken, because I'm sure the Anfield faithful would love to see him back.
Next up, of course, Merseyside Blue. Also had a disappointing weekend.
I'm watching the highlights of the weekend, and I've forgotten which commentator made the point. He said the point is Lukaku, and it's so true. Yeah. You just got rid of, what was it, 25 last season, 24 goals?
Really?
You just got rid of Lukaku and have failed to replace him.
Yeah.
What do you expect? Look, the fact that Sandro Ramirez left for 5 million in a world where everyone's going for 70, 80, 100 million shows that it couldn't have been that good.
Yeah, there is a big Lukaku-shaped hole at Everton.
Absolutely.
And it's just tried to fill it with 3 number 10s.
Yeah, exactly. And then Sigurdsson fires Iceland to the World Cup and then can't even play in the number 10 at Everton.
They spent so big as well, Everton. Didn't Mourinho say when United were playing Everton that they were definitely, you could see how much they've spent. It's a statement of intent. They want to finish in the top. They want to finish in the top 4.
I don't look. Everything that we say could be thrown out the window by bringing up the Leicester title victory, because that went against form guide. But they've brought in players who aren't. You wouldn't look at them and be like, they can't finish outside the top 4. Look at the quality of players. Sigurdsson, I think, is a great player. Don't get me wrong. He spent most of his career battling relegation, but he's still a good player. I mean, the others are just not really. David Clarkson hasn't really done much at all. Sneijderlin couldn't hack it at that level, as showed, you know, spending a season or 2 seasons at United. Garner Gay pretty good, not a match winner.
He was a match winner with his Villa, mate.
Oh, God,
he got us a load of points. That was the bargain in the last 2 years, mate. Villa letting him go for like 6 million or something.
Yeah.
Transfer policy of the Villa is a bloody shambles, man.
To be fair, I couldn't look like a match winner in that team. So.
He got himself sent off against Arsenal, didn't he?
Oh, he did, yeah.
He got himself a second yellow for a pretty daft job. Moving swiftly on, Mike Ashley has just put Newcastle United up for sale. And is apparently looking for between 350 and 400 million pound, which would give him, according to my sources, which are everybody else's sources because it's a Guardian article, you can read it, a profit of about 170 million over the money that he's put into the club. Now he's been there 10 years, got them relegated twice. Fair play, he's brought them back up, twice. But it's never looked like he was running the tightest ship. Is he asking for a bit much?
I mean, I think the issue here is that he knows he has quite a valuable asset. That's the problem. It's like no matter how messed up they get or how low they get, he knows he can count on the backing of a whole city in the northeast of England, a really passionate city at that, fantastic stadium, you know, just under 50,000. Real history within the club, a real attraction. You know, a lot of teams around the world will know about it. A lot of people. Massive rivals in Sunderland and Middlesbrough, definitely not reaching the heights that Newcastle are. So I think he knows he's got, you know, something valuable to sell, and to get rid of it cheaply, I'm not sure it'll be in his best interest as a person. But I also think, I mean,
but his best interest as a person, mate. I'm not interested about his best interest as a person. He always put them before the best interest of everybody else. When he was like last year, there was some parliamentary investigation into how he'd been running Sports Direct, right, and what the kind of contracts that he'd been offering his employees. They summoned him to go to the parliamentary subcommittee, and he said, "Nah, it's all right. You lot can come to me. I'll fly you out to Newcastle in my helicopter." And they said, "No, Mike. This is the British Parliament. That's not how it works, mate. You got to come to us." So no wonder he's putting his interest before those of everybody else. But I reckon the passionate city that you spoke about, I'm probably very looking forward to seeing the back of him.
I just think he always try and, you know, when he had a good point to sell, when things are going well, you wouldn't want to sell because they're going well. And there's always that yo-yo, you know, do you bow out on a high, or do you cut your losses when things aren't going so well? But I think he's finally realised with Benitez, you know, the fact they're doing okay this season, certainly better than the last few years, that he's really thought, I best sell it.
On to our next section, which is some of your comments. So, I'm going to read you one, and it goes like this. It's from our man Victor Hero, so thank you very much, Victor. While Spurs have an owner who doesn't financially back them like the other big boys, they will always be behind. Spurs owner can only hold on to Kane for another season at most, even with his stubbornness with Madrid sniffing. We remember how the Bale saga turned out. Now, Spurs can only hold on to Kane for another season. What do you reckon?
I mean, look, he's come out and said he's a one-club man, but he also said, you know, as long as the team and the manager are pushing in the right direction, because the manager, I don't know, let's say Pochettino goes to Real Madrid in a few years, other players leave, you know, and we're languishing in mid-table or wherever, I'm sure Kane will want to leave. I don't think the issue is with Kane leaving is seen as sort of a bad thing, because much like Modric and Bale before him, you wouldn't begrudge anyone going to Real Madrid.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is the biggest club in the world. This is the biggest opportunity. You know, it's a lot different. Right, and I know a lot of Arsenal fans will be bitter about it. It's a lot different when Nasri, Clichy and Van Persie leave to United. Because they'll be coming back in a few weeks and they're winning the titles that you're going for.
Yeah, of course.
Right, and
but I think players leaving the Prem to go to Real Madrid always just seems like blind, daft ambition to me, and none of them really cut it that well. And Bale seemed to make a pretty good start, but now is he that essential at Madrid? I'm not really sure. And I think, I mean, it's ought not to be too much to expect of Kane that he means what he says if he says he's a one-club man. And I don't think Tottenham are in the same place they were when Bale left. They've been fighting at that level for a couple of years since. and have proved actually that they do have the mettle. Not necessarily to win trophies yet, but their chances always look good. And yeah, so I don't think for a player to say they want to win trophies, they want to achieve stuff with their career now. If they're at Tottenham, they necessarily need to leave. I think it's good way you can do it.
I think we've managed to sustain it better than Bale. I mean, Bale left 2013, and that was 2 seasons. Was it 2 seasons? Maybe. Yeah, it was 2 seasons after he completely sort of lit up Maicon against Inter Milan, and he was at the heights of taking on Maicon. You know, beating Inter Milan at the Lane in the Champions League. 2 seasons later, we were just about to get into Europa League.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can completely agree that if we can kind of sustain this level of Champions League, you know, win the best at applying pressure award every year. I'm going to throw a few comments your way now. I mean, this is. I don't want to upset you. This is some of it. I mean, I don't know if we've got a bleeper that's going to be coming on, but I mean, wow, some of these.
Yeah. Thanks for your comments. Nice
we do appreciate them, even the slightly harsher ones.
Right, and as another thank you, we, as I mentioned, are going to be giving away a Premier League shirt of your choice. And if you would answer this question and use the hashtag, which I believe is still behind me, 12, needn't do anything about Klopp in there. Oh yeah, of course you should, because the question is, if Klopp were to get the chop at Liverpool, who could replace him? Who would be the best replacement for Klopp? So if you answer that and use the hashtag 12, then we're going to pick out an answer at random before next week's show and give to the commenter a Premier League shirt of his or her choice. Last one. See you next week anyway. Thanks for watching.